Beyond the Beyond is a PlayStation 1 turn-based JRPG released in 1995. Yep, if that sounds early for a PlayStation 1 game, that's because it is. Beyond the Beyond is the first traditional JRPG released for the system, and it's definitely noticeable in graphics and gameplay. But I think that's what makes Beyond the Beyond both special and infuriating all in one mess of a package. Let's get into it. When you play Beyond the Beyond today, you can definitely tell the developers were trying to dip their toe into the 3D world, but they didn't want to fully commit. The battle system is about the only 3D aspect of this game, if you can even call it 3D. You see, the battles use what I call a faux 3D look, where it's still sprite-based, but there's a new sprite every frame as the camera moves around during battle to represent different angles. Similar to the way Mario Kart 64 handled 3D sprites. But hey, I personally find that look charming, but I know some people might find that look to be ugly. When characters use spells or abilities, there's the usual flair you would expect to the visuals as well. As a whole package, the battle system is pretty nice to look at. But that's really it for 3D. The rest of the game, like towns, the overworld, and dungeons, all take place in a 2D environment. And honestly, you can mistake those parts of the game with a Super Nintendo RPG. It's not necessarily a bad thing because SNES games are some of the best looking 2D games, but sometimes I find myself in a town or dungeon thinking to myself, man, they could have put a lot more detail here. But still, the PS1 color palette shows here with clear, vibrant towns and dungeons of all styles to keep the playthrough feeling fresh. And I think that's key when playing a long JRPG. Like I said earlier, the combat is traditional turn-based where you have your attack, item, and magic commands. When your battle party gets larger, you can set the formation. So stronger characters up front who take more damage, and weaker magic users in the back to stay safe and heal the party. Regular attacks have an active battle system, where if you press the right combination of buttons, it causes extra damage moves. Basically, it's all down to button mashing, to be honest. Mash away and hope for the best. Characters have VP points, which is basically health points, MP for spell points, and LP, which is the oddest thing about the battle system, and I'll explain that quickly. So when a character runs out of VP, aka health points, they don't necessarily die. Instead, the character gets groggy, causing you to lose a turn. On your next turn, the character uses up some of the leftover LP points to recover health points, the VP points. Do this enough to where your character runs out of VP points and then your character dies. This was totally pointless to me and only serves to lose a turn. It's extra frustrating to me at the beginning of the game when you barely have HP. Spell users, on the other hand, feel great to use as spells are flashy and do lots of damage. Unfortunately, spells use a ton of MP, so I found myself saving spells really just for bosses. You can buy items mid-game to recover MP, but they're expensive and take up valuable inventory slots, which is a good time to mention the completely hardcore JRPG nature of this game. If you're new to JRPGs, stay away from Beyond the Beyond. The difficulty is high throughout the game, any battle can result in death, and so you will have to be fully prepared with weapons and items before setting off into a dungeon. Any small mistake during battle, and it'll be tough to make it out alive. Not to mention, one of your main characters is permanently cursed, which results in straight up wasted turns during battle. You'll have to nurse him along with your party for a good 20 hours or so before healing him. The random encounter rate is astronomical and probably the worst I've seen in a game. Just about every 3 steps or so will enter into a battle, so you gotta make sure to choose your next steps wisely in a dungeon. Veteran JRPG players used to a challenge will be right at home here if the random battles don't drive them away first. You take control of main character Finn. Finn's father, for some reason, shows up once a month to train him to the point and brink of death. After healing, Finn is tasked to go to the castle, but before he does so, he must prove himself by going to the spirit cave for spirit water, where he ends up rescuing his friend Anne, aka the love interest. Upon obtaining the spirit water, the party pretty much starts gaining magical abilities on their own specific points in the story. You soon pick up a few more characters along your journey, including the infamous Samson Powerhouse, who has a curse placed on him which renders him useless at times during battle. The story gets the job done and is pretty interesting with your standard save the world tropes by going to city proving yourself to whoever is important there for progressing the plot. Cutscenes are done on screen during gameplay with a lot of silly comedic humor to break the tension. The traditional old school good versus evil story acts as comfort food, something warm and familiar to play through without extravagant twists and turns like games today. You know what to expect in Beyond the Beyond, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Music again follows the theme of comforting traditional design. Musical high notes are taken care of by trumpets and soothing flute sounds, while the percussion instruments sound very quote-unquote big band style, as if there's a full college band playing along. Honestly, the overall sound quality is astounding in person, and that's thanks to the beast of a sound chip in the PS1. Clarity goes a long way here, as every instrument is distinguishable and clear. You won't get bored by a repeating battle theme or town theme. There are several battle themes, and themes are long, to where they don't really loop quickly. Themes outside of battle are heroic and fit the medieval fantasy setting just right. In conclusion, Beyond the Beyond makes a lot of what were they thinking choices, like LP points or bizarre puzzles that take forever because of the insanely high random battle encounter rate. But really, there's a great polished game experience here behind the weaknesses, one that you'll be able to appreciate if you play the game yourself. So ignore all the negativity surrounding Beyond the Beyond and pick yourself up a copy while you still can. Yep, so that's my look at Beyond the Beyond for the PS1. As always, if you liked the review, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're almost hitting our goal of 1,000 subscribers. I want to thank everybody who keeps coming back, watching the reviews, and spreading the word on the channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.